Hello, welcome to another episode of Randomly Marley. I like it. It's really my new thing. I made it a thing. Okay. Today I'm going to take you through we're going to do like a quarantine diaries. Like sort of just go through what my quarantine was like, the lockdown period. I think it's funny how we've picked up the word quarantine as like a real thing, even though technically quarantining is when you actually have a disease, an infectious disease, and you isolate yourself from people. Yet at the time we were all quarantining, we didn't have corona. Like here in Uganda, I know that by the time lockdown started and quarantine started, not many cases had been confirmed. Like I'm sure like 90% of the people that were locked in their homes didn't have the disease. Anyway, quarantine diaries, because we go with Oscar. Do you like my t-shirt? I got it from my friends over at T-shirt Warehouse. I think I'll put their name here on the screen just so you can see. This isn't an ad, I'm just appreciating. It says Keisha Maza, then it has the pronunciation because some people call me Keisha Maza and I know Keisha, okay? Keisha Maza. Then, but I think it's inverted. I'll see if I can flip it. The one who mesmerizes or leaves people in awe. Anyway, quarantine diaries. What were you guys up to during your quarantine? Let me know in the comment section. I'd like to know what it was like for you. My quarantine was very interesting. So it started, first of all, the lockdown started and caught me not at home. I live in Chuafu, Kansanga, and I have a friend, Peggy, who lives in Nigeria. So those of you that know Kampala, Nigeria and Chuafu are like opposite ends of the earth. It's about 40 minutes with no traffic. Otherwise you need like an hour to an hour and a half, so it's far. So I'd gone to her house. I can't remember what for. Sometimes there isn't really a reason, it's just to hang. But I was at her house, and then I was supposed to come back. Like I was supposed to come back home, let's say tomorrow, and then tonight the president announced. So the night before I was meant to go back home, the president announced. I was trying to find the right English to say it. The president announced a total lockdown. So my dad calls me that evening. He's like, "Hi, do you know you're stuck where you are?" I'm like, "What do you mean stuck where I am?" Like my head that didn't. I'm like, "What do you mean stuck where I am? I think I can't find at the very least a border. Like I can't be stuck." He's like, "No, we're going into lockdown, total lockdown." I'm like, "What does that mean?" And he said, "Cars are not allowed to move, borders are not allowed to move." I'm like, "That doesn't make sense. So if someone wants to move, if I need to go to work, if I need to go to the shop, what am I going to do? Like, how do you move?" Needless to say, I very quickly caught on and learned what that meant. It meant that either you walk or you suffer locally and stay at your home. We have monkeys here at home, so I keep hearing noises, but they're not here today. Anyway, but yeah. So lockdown found me in Nigeria, not at my home. So it was nice. I enjoyed it because Peggy's home is full of people. She lives with her younger siblings, her two younger siblings, and then her cousins live within the same apartment complex at the very next house next door. So it was like one big household of people, and it was fun. So I enjoyed it. We'd do TikToks, we'd play board games and house games and have conversations about all sorts of things and cook food together. I like community and I like being around people, so I really enjoyed myself. I was sleeping late, waking up late, things like that. It was like a holiday for me. And because the first time that the lockdown was announced, the president said 3 weeks. After the first 3 weeks, I feel like that's when everybody sort of started to realize that this might last a bit longer and people started to readjust. Because for me, the first 3 weeks were holiday. No lie. I was like, "Oh, we're locked down for 3 weeks. Okay, stay at home." Like, what to do? So we're chilling, relaxing, not doing so much. I really don't think I did anything constructive in those 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, I realized, oh, this might be for a long time. So then I started to readjust and find ways to do things. So then I started doing writing. I started just restructuring some of my plans that I had set out for the year. I started making use of the online space. I would do lives on Instagram. I would do all sorts of things. And then eventually, I think still within like the second phase of lockdown, my dad left. He wanted to go to Fort Portal. He works in Fort Portal and that's where he spends most of his time. And he didn't want to leave the house, you know. He didn't want to leave knowing that I'm not home. So he sent me a truck. So I took a truck. He sent a truck to Nigeria to pick me. And I really wanted to come with Peggy and company and everything, because now they had grown on me, and I'm like, how am I going to live through lockdown on my own? But it was going to be too much, and it was too short notice and to everything, so I just came with her sister, Michelle. So the truck guy said we wouldn't be allowed to sit 3 people squashed within the front space, because trucks were essential services, so they were allowed on the road. So Michelle sat at the front with the driver, and I sat at the back, like the back where the food goes and the cargo goes. Yep, that back. I don't know if I have a picture. If I have a picture, I'll attach it. I think I deleted it. But yeah, that's what I did. So we came home. Michelle had never been to my home before, so of course I showed her around. Then we got acquainted really quickly. We used to have conversations. She read almost all the books in our library. She really likes to read. She was good company. So one of the things that I picked up this quarantine season was baking and cooking. So I cook. I don't like to cook so much, but I don't mind it. And there are days where I cook. So usually for me, I cook when I'm in the mood to cook. I'm like, oh, today I feel like cooking, then I'll cook. Or the new recipe I want to try out, then I cook. But it's not something that I do daily. We have someone at home that cooks. But during quarantine, I really cooked quite a bit, because like there was not much to do. So I'd cook, blah, blah, blah. Look for different recipes, new recipes, try out stuff, do baking, try out. I learned this really good chocolate cake. Like now I think I can do it without a recipe. So every time I host people at home, and maybe I want to have cake, we're celebrating someone's birthday, whatever, and I don't have enough money to buy a cake, I just buy ingredients for like 20-30k and bake a chocolate cake. It works. Then we made a chocolate fudge, like icing, which happened by mistake. We're trying to make like the creamy icing, and ended up making something else, but it worked out. So sometimes mistakes are good. And yeah, I was working out. I actually worked out every day in quarantine. I think I still put on a bit of weight because I was eating more than I was working out. But for me, I felt comfortable, because I was like, I'd have been really fat if I wasn't working out at all. So I started with like 15-20 minute workouts. It reached a point in quarantine where I could actually do hour-long workouts. Like I was like looking forward to it, enjoying it. And as soon as quarantine stopped, that stopped. It went out the window. But yeah, during the lockdown, I really did work out most of the days. We did cooking, we did so many things. And then eventually I started taking a course online. So I do social media account management and a lot of digital marketing, and I work in the online space. And Google was offering a free course on digital marketing, so I started doing that. Then I was doing another online course by John Maxwell, which he was also offering for free. There was so many free courses online during the quarantine period. You guys, I hope you managed to take at least something. None of those courses I finished, unfortunately, but I'm going to finish the digital marketing one before the year ends. Hopefully I'm going to get back into it, the Google course, if it's still even available and free. Anyway, yes, but those are some of the things that I was doing. So I had a book, I'd sit, I'd write down. I was doing Kiswahili. I speak very little of Swahili, and I can have a bit of a conversation. I pick up languages quickly, really, is what it is. So if I'm around people that are speaking a certain language a lot, I start to pick it up, I start to have conversations with them. But I also forget languages as quickly as I learn them. If I'm not practicing, it slips out of my head. So I had to learn to sit down and now be intentional about learning Swahili. So that's one of the things that I was doing online as well during the lockdown. I used an app called Duolingo, which I have on my phone. So it was really good for me. So I started doing a lot of personal development things. I was doing the Duolingo thing because I'm an MC, a professional MC, and the vision that I have for myself is to be able to have more opportunities in terms of events because I can speak different languages. So I'm doing Swahili, then I'm going to perfect my French, and then Luganda and Runyakoli I will also do and learn fluently, because I speak those but not very fluently. I wouldn't allow someone to hire me to MC an event in any of those languages because my communication would be limited. So yes, the point of that is then I can go for Nyakole functions, for Munyaranda, a Kenyan, an Arab, all sorts of things, because I speak some sort of language. That was the goal for me. Then lockdown slowly started to ease up, and so I was no longer waking. Lockdown actually helped me to have a very structured routine, because it's not like I was going anywhere. It's not like there were people calling me to disorganize my routine, as opposed to here where you plan out your week, then someone calls you, there's an emergency meeting, or a client calls you, they need a proposal on something, or do you know what I mean? Like during the lockdown, most of my routines were set routines. So I woke up at a certain time, I'd read my Bible, I'd pray, I'd work out, then I'd eat breakfast, then I'd spend the rest of the day doing my things. Then later in the evening, maybe I'd watch a show or two or whatever. I really watched TV during the lockdown season because, yeah, and I'm not a very big TV person, but I became such a TV person during the lockdown because I was like, what am I going to do? I read books, which is a habit. I've dropped in that habit a bit, but I picked up during the lockdown, then it's dropped again, and now I'm setting goals in terms of every day I must read 2 hours of a book a day, and I identified an accountability partner who I have to reach out to. But yeah, books I had really started to pick up. So for me, quarantine was interesting. The first phase of quarantine was really rest and relaxation and chilling and doing a lot of nothing. Then the more and more we started to hear on the news, another 2 weeks, another 3 weeks, another this, I think the more many people actually started to realize that, oh, you know what, it looks like this thing might be here to stay. This lockdown thing could go on forever and ever. So you just start picking up, because I feel like the more we went into lockdown, the more I picked up activities, because I first started with, okay, I'll just cook and try new recipes and whatever. Then I started reading books and I started doing courses online, and I started learning a new language. Like I really picked things up. So that really has been my quarantine. Some of the routines I've kept, I like trying out new recipes still every once in a while, and I cook whenever I can. I haven't baked in a while, it's been 2-3 weeks, but I will probably resume it soon, maybe, I don't know. Reading has dropped, but I'm picking it up again, and the language thing really just slipped me completely. Anyway, generally I think I had a lot of time. I think was the thing about quarantine, that I was able to do 4 or 5 courses at the same time, but also I was intentional about it. And I think I was intentional about it because I didn't have time, like there was nothing better to do with my time. So now I've sort of allowed it to slip through my fingers, so I need to now just be intentional about it. Of course, I don't have the same amount of time that I had in lockdown, but I can still be intentional about it and create the time. So I guess that's kind of what I need to do. But that has been my quarantine diaries. That's pretty much what I got up to during the quarantine. What did you guys get up to? What kind of things did you do? How did it treat you? Hey, there's also the whole mental aspect of it, my god, but the video is already long, so we'll talk about that another day. But I think I was sort of up and down. Like I had very serious bouts of discouragement where I'm just bored and stressed because I'm not a homebody. I'm such a people person and outdoors person, so I got so stressed and so discouraged and so bored and so everything. And then I actually had seasons of joy and happiness and contentment and rest, like very well rested and everything. So it has been, I think for me, it's been a good year. The quarantine was a bit up and down, but I think I had more ups and downs, so for that I'm grateful. Share with me what your quarantine was like. What kind of things did you get up to? How did you feel mentally, physically? You know, what kind of changes did your body go through, your mind, your routine? What kind of things did you pick up? What kind of things did you drop? What was it like for you? Like, to share what your quarantine experience was in the comment section below. Make sure you turn on post notifications. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed. You're late to the party, but it's okay, better late than never. Make sure you share this video with 2 friends or 10 or 50 or all of them, all the groups, everything. Thank you so much for watching. It's been another episode of Randomly Marley.